Hi, Mike's Carburetor Parts here. I'm going to rebuild this Rochester Monojet Carburetor, one barrel carburetor, and so I'll take you through the disassembly, cleaning, and then putting it back together. So here we go. First thing we got to do is take the float bowl screws out. This carburetor generally fits 6-cylinder GM vehicles. So I suggest you get your camera out and take a lot of pictures as you go along. This is the way the throttle and fast idle is set up. Anyhow, take pictures as you go along. So when you put it back together, you got something to refer to if you can't remember how something goes. So for example, like this fast idle cam, the numbers stamped on it, that stamped number is on it, goes towards the outside. This goes on the inside here. Now this one has a what you call a divorce choke. There's the choke lever right here. A rod goes down and the choke goes in the intake manifold. Okay, so there we took off the top. One thing we got in the top here is I need a Phillips here. This is the pull down right here, a little pull down diaphragm. You see how it's connected to the choke valve right here. Hope you can see that. Just hooked onto it. I did a video a few years back about rebuilding one of these, but I got some complaints that it was too dark, so I decided to do another one. Can't see it. It's kind of like some of the movies I watch. Can't see it, I can't watch it. You know, I'm talking about the movies that are too dark. Okay. Oops. Well, see, that's what the heat does to it. Oh, that was just put in there. That was just put in sloppily. It goes in like that. Okay. Gotta get this off somehow. Well, let's take this off. Silly. Should have took that off to start with. Now we can get to the thing. I think somebody's just bent it. Okay, there we go, got it off. All right. So, I don't advise taking off these valves unless you have a reason to. Now this one here is rusty. I probably need to run it through the buffer. I don't have a buffer where I am right now, or I say a wire wheel. Anyhow, and this has been off, so I'm sure it'll come off, but if you want to take them off, these are easily broken, that's why I say that. And if you do need to take it off, then grind these screws down flat to here, and then they'll come out easily. Okay, grind those off first, then these will come out. This one's been replaced, so there's not going to be any problem. Okay, then you can take it out, take the rod out and everything. All right, otherwise leave it alone so you don't break it. Okay, so to continue on, we'll take the gasket out. I don't throw anything away yet. And let's take this out. This is where the fuel filter goes. By the way, we have a kit with these with the throttle valve and choke valve screws. It has all the different size screws in it you can buy. Okay, so you see how that, this is a gasket. It's aluminum with kind of a rubber coating on it. And let's take out the float. Now this one has a nitrofill float. And you can see how the pin goes in, which direction. We replace these with brass floats. And I don't have one right here, but that's what we do. We don't trust the nitrofill these days. We've run into a few that that's your needle. We've run into a few that that they've been making recently that is ethanol's eating on them. You open up the top and it's got black specks all over the carburetor. So there's your seat. Now some seats may have holes in the sides. As long as the height is the same, you're good to go. Now let's take this out. This is your main discharge. You may have to wiggle this back and forth to get it out. Okay, and there is a check ball in there. That's some mineral spirits in here. Okay, so let's take this out. Now this has two rods hooked to it. Which is a bit of a puzzle when you go put this back together. I always have trouble with that, with this. Okay, gotta go this way. There, okay, I'm gonna leave that together for now. That's what it's going to look like when you first put it on there. Okay, so that makes, oops, that lets the, allows us to remove the arm for the accelerator pump. And this is your accelerator pump. We can take it apart further. A little retainer goes on it, and this is the delayer spring. What the delayer spring does is it actually delays the movement of the accelerator pump, so it goes up and down smoothly rather than jerk up and jerk down. Okay, that's what that's all about. All right, we've got a return spring that goes in there. Don't forget that. Let's see, this one does not have a check ball down there, and that's because in this particular carburetor, the gas feeds through this slot here and fills it up. So when the pump comes up, the gas runs into the side of it. So it doesn't need to have a check ball for the intake. Okay, here's your power valve, or power piston. Okay, and the metering rod. Make sure it doesn't get bent. Don't think they're available. And this is a arm that goes in here. Okay, and then you got your spring for the power valve. Goes like so. And that's it on the power valve. And let's take the main jet out. Use a nice size screwdriver so that you don't break the brass off. So that's your jet. And let's see, you may need a magnifying glass. This one doesn't have it. A lot of time the size will be stamped on it. Most of the time it is. I don't know why this one isn't. But I don't see the size on that one. Okay, we do have the sizes on carburetor numbers. And by the way, the sizes match carburetor numbers. So you get on our site and go to the Monojet section, technical, find your carburetor number, or find the page for the jet sizes and match up your carburetor number. So the carburetor number right here is stamped right here, right next to the inlet. This is 7040014. Very important. You put that in our search box on any of our pages, and it'll come up and tell you what parts go to this carburetor, and which kit, and which float, etc. Okay. And one thing I forgot to get out before I lose it is the return spring for the filter, and it goes like this. So the return spring basically forces this up against here, so the gas goes through the hole instead of around it, and that's what that's all about. So I'll put that right there. All right, so we got everything. This does not come out. This is all that comes out on here. So let's take the body off, the throttle body. And in case I don't remember it, run a flat file across here. Make sure it's flat. They do get warped. People tighten them down too tight, etc. When I was rebuilding, which we don't do anymore, I have this flat round disc that I'd put up against, and it would give it a good flat surface. So if you have a good, really good flat file, and just run across it, and that should take care of it. So there's two big screws you got for the throttle body. Okay. And you see this one, the vacuum, all the vacuums plugged off. And there you go. Again, I wouldn't take this valve off, you know, unless it's cruddy, rusty, or whatever. Otherwise, leave it alone. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm going to leave the idle screw in there. What happened to the idle mixture screw? Here it is right here. Got to take it out. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is soak it. And I like to use this stuff. I can use simple green, but simple green, if you're not careful, will discolor your carburetor. So I use this Berryman's Chem Dip. It's pretty popular. You can get it at any parts store. One reason I like it because it has a little basket in it. See if I can take it apart here without spilling it. So it has this little plastic basket in here, so you can throw all the parts in there, and they don't, the small parts especially. And you should be able to almost get it all in there at once. And follow the directions on the can. Usually take 2 to 4 hours to clean it. You let it soak in there. And I wouldn't do it any longer. I can't remember what this one does say. It's let's see, disassemble, let it soak for 15 to 30 minutes. Whoa. Oh, do not soak coated or sensitive aluminum parts over 4 hours. So a couple hours maybe, I'd say I'd give it. And if you can, if you happen to have access to hot water, then rinse it off with hot water. And then I like to use this spray carb cleaner. And one other thing I use, my messy bench. See if I can find it. Well, I'll find it here in a minute. Anyway, I do things like spray through the hole. Where did I make sure screw go? Right here. Spray through there. Make sure it goes through. And I take every hole, every passageway like that, and I'll spray through it and make sure, see, it comes out the other end. Make sure you got some glasses on, by the way. I've sprayed myself in the eyeballs more than once doing this. And especially these small ones. So you go out there, these are easily plugged up. I'm not sure if that one even goes through. And I didn't mention here this plastic piece goes in here. That's what the auxiliary pump arm goes through. Come on. Okay. That's what goes in there. Okay, so let's soak it and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have these brushes that they're nylon and stainless steel, and these are great for cleaning out these passages. You know, ethanol can leave residue in there. And so it's a good idea, if you can, go through and clean every one of these passageways. And this little brush set we have, they have all kinds of different sizes, so you can get in just about every hole and get them cleaned out good. So great idea. Oops. So, got all that, we got it all cleaned out. It's a good idea to take and polish the auxiliary pump well with crocus cloth. We have that too. You polish it good. The gas doesn't have as much lubricant as it used to have, so it's you want that as smooth as possible, because a lot of reasons auxiliary pump cups go bad is it's going against a rough surface and it just tears them up, folds them up. Also, before you put it in, put a little lithium grease on it, white lithium grease on the pump. That'll help it keep it lubed up until you get gas in anyone. All right, so let's. I think what we'll do here is put the bottom on. I'm going to put this back in before I forget it. I usually do. Okay. And then we put our gasket on here. So when you're putting gaskets on, just be sure it's not covering up any holes that need to be open. So here's an example. Fits great this way. But these two holes are not showing through. So it also fits great this way, and the holes go through. So you got to be careful with this kind of stuff sometimes. That's a real gotcha there. All right, so one thing I want to mention: if you're going to take these off, mark them really good so you know they go in exactly the right side up and the right direction, because they're not perfectly round sometimes. So make a mark, scribe marks somewhere on the bore and also on the plate, and so you get it back in the exact same position. And let's see, we got these two holes here. I think because of the idle screws over here, it's probably going this way. Okay. And get these two great big screws. Alright, that gives us something for it to sit on. Okay, I think the next thing I'll do is put in the main discharge. There's the check ball for it. And then we got the spring. Put the spring in there. And then the T. Holds it all in there. Okay, that's going to stay in there plus the gasket, so I'm not going to worry about it. But you can stake the edge of it a little bit so it doesn't pop out. But in this case, see, the gasket's going to hold it down anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, we got the main jet. I'm going to put it down there. It does not use a gasket. Easier said than done. Okay. Oh. So if you don't change your main jet, unless you got a reason to. They don't necessarily wear out. It's just gas flowing through them. Even if they're if somebody chipped them on the where they screw them in, don't worry about that. It's the hole that matters. So, I mean, if you bought it at a swap meet or something, or you transplant it from another engine, then by all means check the size and get that correct. Okay, let's put in the let's drop in the, let's see, I think the main discharge, or excuse me, the power. Got the spring that goes in there, and let's see, this goes in here too at the same time. Goes over there. Okay. So you have to kind of put all this in at once. This has to go in that groove right there. Just like that. That's what's going to move it up and down. Okay, and let's get your metering rod in there. And let it sit there for a minute. We're going to put the return spring for the accelerated pump in here. Or, excuse me, that's the, here it is right here. Okay, and we want to put the delayer spring on, and we'll put the retainer on it. Just squeeze the spring down, slip that retainer in there, like so. Come on, damn it. Damn bitch. Alright, so again we're going to check the action. Got that done. Let's put the seat in here. The gasket goes on it. Using a nice wide blade screwdriver so that they don't nick the brass. Okay. Alright, so we got that part done. Let's see what else we got here. I think we can go ahead and we'll put the float in, but like I say, we sell the brass float. The adjustment's the same. And oops, this goes on here, this little clip. Like so. Now this can hang most anywhere. Just make sure that when you get in there that the float brings it straight up and down and doesn't cock it to one side. Okay. Be careful it's not rubbing on the edge. Sometimes these get bent and they get up against here. There's just not a lot of room in there. Try to refrain from bending your float right here. So now would be a good time to adjust the float. So I got to look up the size. So this one is a 1/4 inch, and you measure it 1/8 inch or so in from the toe. And what you do is you push your float down to seat the needle, and obviously it's too high right now, so you get yourself a steel ruler like I have. It's best to have one of these around. Our kits include a small paper kind of ruler, which can be used, but it's kind of a one-use deal. So this one's way out of whack. Now we don't recommend adjusting them in the bowl right here, because if you put pressure on that needle, too much pressure, it's going to score the Viton tip. So what we want to do is take it out, and in this case we'll bend it right here. It doesn't take much. Oh shoot, the needle came out. Figures. Okay. So we're going to bend this in a little bit. And you may have to do this several times, but you got to get it right. Okay, so that did the trick. Let's see, it looks pretty level. I'll bet you that's pretty close. So put it this way here, and 1/4 inch. That's pretty close. Okay, so that got the level. Don't worry about the float drop. It can drop all the way down. It doesn't matter. Now I think we can put the gasket on like so. Again, make sure I think there's only one way you can put this one on, but just make sure nothing's grabbing and getting bound up in there. Okay, let me check my inventory of screws and things here and make sure I haven't forgotten something. I usually do. Nope, looks like we're okay. So let's put this on the top. It goes this way. Okay, long screws. And we got the short screws. Whoops, wrong one. These are long-winded screws. Now what you want to do is when you get them to where they touch, is you want to do a cross pattern so you don't warp the top. Get them all snug, then you can go back and tighten them a little bit more. Okay, let's put the idle mixture screw in. We're going to make sure this isn't scored or it isn't bent. And the way we sell these, you got to measure their overall length and match them up with the screws we have online and by length, and then look at the shape of the end here. Before you put it in there, you want to make sure it's clear. You can see through here. Make sure you didn't leave a little bit of dirt in there. Okay, we're going to tighten it down just so it seats easily. It's easy to mess up the screw if you get it too tight. Okay, right there. And we're going to go a turn and a half. Turn and a half to 2 turns to start with is good. Okay, and there's the hole for it right there. And then above it, up here, is a transfer hole. So what that does is as you get off of idle, to get up to the accelerator pump circuit, it'll uncover that slot and let a little bit more air fuel in there. That's all that does. Okay, so we're going to get this little booger in here. And it goes in this way, hooks onto that. Get it turned right. Now, see, I didn't get this screw in all the way. Something in that hole. I'm going to take it out and check it out here. Okay, so checking everything's working there. We're going to put the fuel filter spring in. Lost the hole. There we go. Okay, put the spring in here. The filter goes this way with the hole facing towards this, and you see the washer on here. Now I hand tighten a lot of this because I take them apart fairly often to do different things. Okay, so there's that. And so we need to put on the fast idle. This winds in here. You got to use the right screw with the little shoulder on it, or it won't twist. Okay, got to get it just right. So, choke is open. I got to bend that in. So it'll be on its lowest point right here. A lot of times you go to, when you get in the car, and these get bound up like this when the choke is open, and you'll have it fast idle. So you want to kick it a little bit, and that'll make it go on low. So when the choke closes, it pulls that up and gets on a high step, and you get a higher RPM. Simple as that. Okay. And you can put this back on it. That's your Monojet rebuild. Hope this helps you. They're not too hard. Some things a little more difficult than others, but you'll get it. Just take your time. Cleaning the passages is the most important thing you can do. You can get all done and have a passage plugged up. That ethanol leaves residue in them. Use these brushes to clean out the passages. It just save you a whole lot of grief. Okay, I get a lot of email that I rebuilt and everything and boiled it out and it won't run very good, you know, blah blah blah. And usually it's a plug passage somewhere. Alright, so there you go. That's how it looks when you're done. And like I say, you take pictures as you go along. So you can get the kit for this at mikescarb.com. When you buy the kit, you can add on these brushes. Also, you can add on the sandpaper stuff. I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden, but it's on there. You can buy a strip of that. Everything you need to rebuild it. You can add on a float. If you have that nitrofill, replace it with the brass float so you don't have any trouble. One thing about the nitrofill, the only way you can tell whether it's absorbed fuel is to weigh it with a gram scale. We do have those too, by the way. Yeah, where the brass float, you put it in hot water and watch for bubbles to come out of it. This nitrofill, you can only weigh them because they're basically like a honeycomb inside. Okay, so I appreciate you watching this. I hope it helps you rebuild your monojet. Thank you for watching.